Hello, and welcome to Stephoodle. I am, mysteriously, Steph, and several of my friends here on YouTube got together for another anime collab. More about that at the end of the video. I finally got around to watching the Apothecary Diaries last month, perfect timing since the second season is airing now, and I just had to make Maomao. So let's get started. I'll be using this petite made-to-move Barbie body and the head and feet from this Creatable World doll. It's the same hybrid I used for Freerun last year. I started with the clothing this time around. First, I'll make her jacket, sewing the two sides together at the back seam. Next, I'll work on the collar. I need to attach the mint green piece to the dark green. To do that, I'll take some hem tape and iron it onto the mint fabric. Then I'll trim down the fabric so it's the same size as the hem tape. And now I can iron the mint piece onto the dark green. I fold the collar in half lengthwise and press it. I forgot to record, whoops, but I went ahead and attached the sleeve cuffs. And now I can sew on the collar. And it looks really good! Next, I sew up the side seams. I ended up shortening the sleeves off camera since they were a bit too long when I tried it on the doll. I'll hem the rest of the raw edges, and lastly, I'll add snaps and a faux tie to finish it up. Next is the skirt. First I'll sew the waistband pieces together, and then hem the top edge. I opted to modify a pattern for a high-waisted skirt that I've used before, since I know it will sit nicely on the doll and won't create excess bulk under the jacket. I hem the bottom edge of the skirt. And now I can gather the skirt and attach it to the waistband. And finally, I'll sew up the back seam and add snaps. I'll be making her underlayer mainly out of power mesh to keep it as light and thin as possible. I'll sew on this cotton collar and hem the armholes. And then I'll sew up the side seams. And that's it. I'll be giving her these Creatable World shoes, but I'll need to make them a bit less pointy. So I sand down the tips to give them a more rounded shape. Then I paint them dark green and paint the soles black. And I add a layer of matte Mod Podge to seal them. Now I can move on to all of my usual prep, removing the head and getting rid of the hair and factory paint. I went ahead and painted her scalp green and sealed it in with Mod Podge. After that, I sprayed the head with a couple of layers of Mr. Super Clear because it's time for the face-up. As always, I mostly use a combination of watercolor pencils and soft pastels. Anime face-ups are always kind of a challenge since they're mostly about precision and sharp lines. I use magnifying lenses when I work, and that definitely helps. So, The Apothecary Diaries. It's a historically inspired drama mystery series. According to Wikipedia, it is set in a fictional country based on Imperial China during the Tang Dynasty, but often references knowledge available closer to the end of the Ming Dynasty. Maomao works as an apothecary in a red light district. One day, while out gathering plants, she's kidnapped and sold to the Imperial Palace. She becomes a servant but hides the fact that she can read and write. Two of the high-ranking consorts and their recent newborns are gravely ill, and Maomao is able to figure out the cause. She secretly sends notes to both consorts, but only one heeds her warning, and that baby lives. Maomao's cleverness is found out by Jinshi, a very beautiful, highly ranked eunuch, and she becomes the official taster of the consort whose child she helped save. And that's how the story begins. Maomao continues to help with mysteries that arise when called upon, and knows how to maneuver cleverly within her station. She's also a total gremlin that has a special interest in poisons. I love her so much. I don't really want to tell you anything else because I really recommend you go and watch it, especially if you love mysteries and if you are into a little bit of imperial court drama, that sort of thing. Intrigue. I can't forget Maomao's freckles. And after a few more highlights with some paint pens, her face up is done. Now I can reattach her head and start gluing on her hair. Here she is before cutting and styling. And here she is after. So cute. But there's one more thing missing. Maomao's left arm is usually covered with a bandage to hide the scars from her self-experimentation. I did say that she was a gremlin with a special interest in poisons, so I carefully wrap a ribbon around her arm, gluing it in place as necessary. Once dry, I trim the excess and add a coat of matte Mod Podge to dull the shine of the ribbon. And that's everything. We have our doll and her clothes, and now all that's left to do is get her dressed, and she's done. I'm so happy I made Maomao. It was a bit difficult figuring out how to make her clothes look right, and sacrificing some accuracy so that they wouldn't be too bulky when scaled down, but she turned out super cute. What do you think of Maomao? Have you watched the Apothecary Diaries? And do you have any other anime recommendations for me? I'm also watching Zenshu this season, and I'm really enjoying it. Please, please, please go and check out the other dolls in this collab from Beth Ramsden, the Hatter Dolls, Starlight Dream Dolls, Tiffany's Tiny Things, and Lady Dynamite Creates. Everyone did a fantastic job, and they were all so fun to work with. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you'd like to see more from me, and click the bell icon and turn on all notifications so you'll know whenever I post a new video. These are all my socials, which will be linked down below. I'm most active on Instagram, and if you really like what I do and you want to buy me a coffee or help me afford more supplies, you can find a link to my Ko-fi tip jar in the description down below, or you can click on the super thanks button right below this video. And until next time, bye!